How can you come to a wet fit and don't expect for you to get wet? You don't know it's blows you go get. You watching SAT TV.
Bring out the reading, SAT Telecoms.
Welcome to SAT TV News. I'm Alicia George, your presenter. In our top stories, Queen's Bateau Relay arrives in Dominica. Bahamas PM accused of abuse of power. Missing flight simulator data probed in Malaysia Flight 370 disappearance. And in sports, West Indies defeats England in first T20 World Cup warm-up match. Details of these will follow.
You're watching SAT Telecoms.
Welcome back. A 3-day workshop has begun, administered by the Ministry of Health in an effort to effectively collect and analyze data in healthcare facilities. Present at the workshop were groups of healthcare professionals, including the 7 health districts, Dominica Planned Parenthood Association, DPPA, and the HIV office.
Today we are starting a 3-day workshop in data analysis in EpiInfo. EpiInfo really is an analytical tool that is being used widely by health professionals. It has been proven to be a very good tool for analyzing health data.
This workshop focuses on moving away from just data collection and reporting to include analysis of data such as HIV statistics.
When we talk strategic information, we're talking about collecting data, analyzing data, and looking at what the data is saying after analysis and allowing it to influence the way that we do things. So we're talking about evidence-based health practice. So the health professionals, as I said, we are developing competencies in data analysis so that they themselves can review their own data and allow that data to influence the way that they practice health services.
Participants will attain knowledge and receive guidelines on how to put into practice the information they were given.
This workshop today really is geared at giving us the opportunity to be able to manage data, because we collect a lot of data, because there's a lot of reports that needs to be written, national, regional and international reports. So we are taking this opportunity to learn this program.
We need a way to really put all this information into the computer properly, and this program is going to help quite a bit.
It gives the opportunity to pull out data that we have received. Like for example, we have the chikungunya infection that's going around. We are able to take the information, look at the health districts that they're coming from, the symptoms, the signs that they're presented with, and make analysis on this so that when we're giving a report to the general public, it will be a lot clearer for them to understand.
In more news, 50 students attending the Dominica State College recently achieved their diplomas during the first spring graduation during the institution's 11th commencement ceremony. 2 Bachelor of Science degrees and 45 associate degrees were conferred during the ceremony, while 3 students obtained certificates in the applied arts. Jeanette Vigilant from the Faculty of Education and Jasmine Vidal and Kyle John Baptist from the Faculty of Arts and Science received awards for attaining the highest comprehensive grade point average in the spring graduation. This is the first ever spring graduation to take place in the history of college. In related news, during the 11th commencement ceremony of the Dominica State College, DSC, Dr. Donald Peters, president at the college, called on Dominicans to compete with the Chinese work ethics. Mr. Peters stated that work is not something that our country has learned to do well.
We look at
the Chinese immigrants among us who delivered and built this college on time, through strategic work, plan and work ethic, and we marvel at them, but we don't emulate them. We just look at them and say, those Chinese can work hard. Boy, I want you to be ready to work, just like Chinese or Europeans or Americans.
He therefore urged the graduates to embrace the ethics of work so as to attain the good things in life. Mr. Peters went on to say that the mentality of not wanting to start at the bottom is wrong and needs to be changed in order to witness self-growth. A Dominica looking for new solutions to old problems. A Dominica still mired in the old ways of working as little as we can and getting paid as much as we can. We have to shift the work paradigm from one of complaining to one of doing, he concluded. In other news, the 2014 Queen's Relay Bateau arrived on island today, Wednesday, March 19, 2014. The officials who accompanied the bateau was welcomed by Dominica's indigenous people, the Kalinagos, during a display of their traditional dance. President of the DOC, Dominica Olympic Committee, Mr. Felix Wilson, who was at the Melville Hall Airport to welcome the officials, highlighted the importance of the Commonwealth with our celebration of Commonwealth Day. The recently held Youth Parliament, where the students debated the importance of the Commonwealth, was also highlighted.
That is, not only are we holding the baton now, it is in Dominica, but you will take pictures and we will superimpose on those pictures the number of medals that we hope to have. That's, I believe, therefore, is a motivation that is as part of the Commonwealth, and we have secured medals at the Commonwealth Games. If I recall, the last one was Erison Ito, who got a bronze medal in 400 meters. And there have been others. In fact, Ben Laville was the very first athlete from Dominica who participated in the 50s, I think, in the Commonwealth Games. He was a javelin and discus thrower. He has since passed a few years ago, 3 years ago, but he was our first representative at the Commonwealth Games.
Mr. Wilson noted Dominica will continue participating in the Commonwealth Games, expected to be held in Glasgow, London.
Narissa Ogisia was selected to be, from the National Youth Council, to be the Commonwealth Youth Representative who will be attending that conference in Glasgow at the start of the Commonwealth Games.
While on island, the bateau will travel through a number of communities where athletes will relay it. One of the officials who accompanied the Queen's Bateau relay, Mr. Alistair Cameron, explained the journey of the baton.
The baton started in Buckingham Palace on October 9th last year when Her Majesty placed her message inside and the baton headed off on its journey. It's been to Asia, Oceania, Africa, and now the Americas and Caribbean before heading to Europe and then back finally into Great Britain and 40 days around Scotland. 288 days in total, 190,000 kilometres, 70 nations and territories that are part of the Commonwealth. It'll be touched by tens of thousands more people because it's already been touched by tens of thousands of people. So we're hoping that we can take it to as many people in the Commonwealth as possible.
The team accompanying the bateau also includes Mike Layton, security guard for the bateau, Jordan Holder Mansfield, the Queen's Bateau Relay photojournalist, and Fortuna Belrose, the Commonwealth Games Federation representative. A team of journalists from BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation, is also on island to shoot scenes island-wide for a documentary of the bateau's journey across Dominica.
To tell you a little about the formation of the baton, the handle is elm wood from the Isle of Cumbria, recycled timber out of an old house, formed in a methodology called bird mouthing, which is how they made the old ship's mast. So it's hollow in the middle, very strong but flexible. The top is titanium, it's a single piece made from titanium powder along with a process called 3D printing or laser sintering that builds it from scratch. In the very top here, if I'll get Felix to tilt it, is a little piece of granite. This is from the Isle of Ailsa Craig. off the Scottish coast also, this granite is impervious to water, and they use it to also make the curling stones for the Winter Olympics. We leave that little piece of granite behind. It's a little piece of Scotland, a little piece of the baton that remains here as a reminder of our visit, and also to remind the athletes of Dominica that they do need to train and come to Glasgow.
The baton contains the Queen's message that will be opened and read on July 23, 2014, during the opening ceremony of the Commonwealth Games. In more stories, on Wednesday, March 19, 2014, residents of Kulibistri made their voices heard when they staged a protest against the narrowing of a road in their community. Resident Ms. Sheba Eli was very dissatisfied in the manner in which the road being paved was framed by the engineer.
When we came this morning, we found that our 2-lane road was being turned into a 1-lane road. As you can see, where the road, they started paving the road. So we came and we had a concern. We called the people who were responsible for this project, and we came into an agreement that we wanted our 2-lane road as they saw it when they first started on that project.
Ms. Eli noted it was only after they protested and brought their concerns to the engineer responsible for the project that they came to a mutual understanding on how the road should be framed into a 2-lane road as it was previously. The residents are also complaining about the level of dust they have been forced to live with since the project began in December of 2013.
I live right on the road where the construction is taking place, and we have a problem with dust, and all my plants, as you can see, all the plants is getting dust. I have to be watering the plants every day, morning, noon and night, because if it's not that, the people will be buying dust.
Another resident also voiced her concern about the high levels of dust in the small community as a result of this road project.
The dust is really a problem for us. We are bearing it, but it's a problem for us. My son, for example, have been affected by the dust because he has allergies, and it's really bothering him. When he goes to school, sometimes he has to come back because he cannot concentrate properly at school because of the constant sneezing and coughing due to the dust. But we are trying to bear with it. As the people said, they just started concreting the road, so we are bearing with it. We hose it when we can. But it's really a problem for us. It's really a problem for us. But from yesterday, they started the concreting of the road, so we are hoping that very soon from now, everything will be okay.
The concerned resident noted in December 2013, there was heavy rainfall, so the dust was not a problem. However, when the rain stopped, the real problem began. Engineer of the Kulibistri Road project, Mr. Tony LeBlanc of ACE Engineering, stated the works being carried out in the community is part of the West Coast Water Supply Project Lot 1.
Presently, we have just started as of yesterday putting 6 inches thick concrete surface, replacing the old asphalt surface dressings. The villagers have been very tolerant of the inconvenience for a number of months now. We started way back in November with the Christmas break. Right now it's very dry, and the dust which we expected is full force now. We have been trying to keep it wet, but sometimes it dries faster than we can keep it wet. But nonetheless, we are trying. Our efforts now is really to undertake the concrete work as quickly as possible to limit the inconveniences, to bring back the road to a better state than it was, and also to reduce the dust that we have now.
The completion of the concrete work is estimated at between 4 to 5 weeks, while they pave 200 feet of road. In other stories, as they continue to leave their legacy, CARICOM Youth Ambassadors here in Dominica have embarked on a new initiative geared at bringing generations closer. The initiative, entitled Bridging the Gap, is focused on doing just that, bridging the gap between the younger and senior citizens in our society.
And this project came from one of my Saturday morning dreaming, where I was just lying in bed one Saturday morning, and the idea just came to me. And I was sitting back thinking of, just interacting with my own grandmother and older people, and how much fun it was and how much I learned from them. So that's where the project was born from. The whole purpose of the project is to get young people to interact with the older people, to get them to learn from them, and vice versa, because of course the older people can learn from the young ones.
The movement involves interaction between the two groups over a period of time.
The persons meet at least, well, the participants, meet at least once a week, but up to 3 to 4 times a month. And they spend time together doing a project. They could spend time together just learning from each other. They could spend time having tea. They could go out for walks. They are allowed to choose what they want to do during their hour or so of interaction. And after about 6 months, then we may choose to rotate pairs, or you can remain with your very same pair.
Ms. Gervais hopes that this will help curb the problems among young persons in society.
We expect the young people to learn from the seniors, but it's just to bridge that generation gap where seniors are in their own world and the young people are in a world of their own. We want them to just learn how to interact, how to live together in society, and hopefully that can curb some of the problems that we're experiencing in society, because we think that the seniors have a lot to pour into the lives of the younger people. And of course, if you're distracted, then you don't get to be a distraction. So we're hoping that it will take away from the young people doing things that they're not supposed to be or should not be doing.
The entire public is invited to come on board and share in this initiative. Youth and senior volunteers who are interested in working with senior citizens are asked to contact the following persons for inclusion in the project: Natasha Gervais on 277-9234, Dion Anselm on 285-7350, Youth Think Tank Representative Delroy Williams at 225-6367, or the Youth Development Division at 266-3756 or 266-3746.
It's open to the general public, so anybody who is interested, both seniors and young people, are free to be part of it. The young people have to range from 15 to 21, and of course you need to come with a letter of recommendation from a community person, whether it's your pastor, your priest, or some form of community leader, just so that we can know that the people who are coming in are of worthy discuss. And then the seniors, which are 65 and up.
The group accommodates persons under the age of 65 as long as they are willing to help positively bring about change in the lives of young persons. And in court news, Erickson Prevost of Goodwill, who sold free gold-filled chains worth $240 from a Chinese establishment on Independence Street in Roseau, has been sent to prison for the next 6 months. He pleaded guilty to the offense when he appeared in court on Tuesday, March 18, 2014. The fact stated that Prevost had entered the store on 14th March 2014 and inquired whether the owner wanted to buy fish. Moments later, she noticed that 3 pieces of jewelry had gone missing from its showcase. Upon reviewing the surveillance camera, Prevost was seen stealing the items. She reported the matter to police, and that same day, Prevost was picked up for questioning. At first, he denied having any knowledge of the incident, but then revealed that he had given the chains to a woman in Pottersville. Police accompanied Prevost to the area where the woman lived, and she handed the items over to the police. In mitigation, Prevost said he was willing to compensate the complainant for the jewelry, but Magistrate Candia George was not hearing any of it and handed down her sentence. Meanwhile, in a separate incident, repeat offender Altuse of Maho has been sentenced to 6 months in prison. He was jointly charged with Michelle Phillip of Newtown for stealing a boat engine costing $8,000 from his employer on 12 March 2014. The other individual, who is a first-time offender, was fined $1,000, payable by 17th May 2014, or in default, 1 month imprisonment, and faces 6 months imprisonment suspended for 2 years. Both men were represented by attorney Joshua Francis. Magistrate Ali Gill presided over that matter. This has been the local segment of the news. Coming up next,